I've got the music down on the nigun. It's just the words I'm kind of struggling with.
Let's just do nigun into my side, no words.
Nigun? Just do it in nigun?
Yeah.
Okay.
Why not?
You have a red light on your camera?
See, is it mine before?
Ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la. Ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la la, ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la la ya la la, ya la 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 la, ya la 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 la.
Page 10.
Maya Fehayom, Shabbat Shalom, Maya Fehayom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Maya Fehayom, Shabbat Shalom, Maya Fehayom, Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom to everyone here in our sanctuary, everyone joining us on streaming. We just sang the words, Maya Fehayom. What a beautiful day it is. And yes, it's a little hot outside, but I think it's overall a beautiful day. But even if it wasn't beautiful weather-wise, Shabbat is always a beautiful day because it allows us to take a little pause from our busy lives and to rest and to give ourselves peace, to ignore our phones and our emails for even just an hour, and to bring in joy and rest and comfort of our tradition and the comfort of our community. I'm going to start with a reading not found in your book by Martin Hassan. This is how it ends. The week is winding down. Tired limbs and minds wait for rest. What is done, for good or ill. What has gone, though it lingers with us. The achievements and disappointments of the week live on, but soon will fade from memory. New challenges, fears, and hopes will take their place, but not just yet. We are at the threshold. It is time to recall, then let go of what we have done and what we have failed to do, the gains and mistakes we've made, our satisfactions and discontents. We pause for a moment to catch the last gasps and glimmers of the week that has passed. And now it is time to enter into Shabbat. We let go of the weak and make space and time for something new to enter in. This is how it ends, and this is how we begin again. Let our lives be renewed at the sacred time when the end and the beginning become one. We continue our celebration of Shabbat on pages 2 and 3 with the lighting of the Shabbat candles, and I'm honored to call up Sheila and Steve Slavkin to lead us.
O source of light and truth, creator of the eternal law of goodness, help us to find knowledge by which to live. Lead us to take the words we shall speak into our hearts and our lives. Bless all who enter this sanctuary in need, all who bring the offerings of their hearts. May our worship lead us to acts of kindness, peace, and love.
Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'tzivanu lehadlik nem shel Shabbat.
Thank you, Steve and Sheila. We continue reading responsive paragraphs in the middle of page 6. May the door of the synagogue be wide enough to receive all who hunger for love, all who are lonely for friendship. May it welcome all who have cares to unburden, things to express, hopes to nurture. May the door of the synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet.
May it be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness.
May the synagogue be, for all who enter, the doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
We welcome the angels of Shabbat with Shalom Aleichem on page 24. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom Aleichem, Malachei HaSharet, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Boachem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Baruchuni l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Tzeitchem l'shalom, Malachei HaShalom, Malachei Elyon, Mimelech Malchei Hamlachim
Elohim HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Page 26. Yitgadal ve'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Ve'alma divrach yiruteh ve'amlich malchuteh.
B'chayechon u'mechon u'v'chaye lechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala u'vizman kariv.
Ve'imeru Amen.
Yehesh Rabbah mevarach le'olam le'olam me'amaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach ve'yishtabach ve'yitpa'ar ve'romam ve'yitnaseh ve'yitadar ve'yitaleh ve'yitalal shemei dekudesha brichu le'elam min kol birchata ve'shirata
Tushbechata v'nechemata damiran be'olamam.
Ve'imeru Amen. We rise in body or spirit for Baruch Hu on page 28. Yai la 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 yai la la.
Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la. Yai la 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 la.
Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach HaMevorach le'olam va'ed. HaMevorach HaMevorach le'olam va'ed.
Page 31. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Your wisdom sets the way on which time and season glide. Your breath guides the sail of the stars. Together, Creator of the tide of time and light, you guide the current of day into night. As heaven spans to infinity, you set its course for eternity. Praise to you, Adonai, our God, from whom the evening flows. Baruch atah Adonai, Hama'ariv Aravim. Page 32. We join together in Ahavat Olam. Ahavat Olam,
Beit Yisrael, Amcha ahavta, Amcha ahavta. Torah u'mitzvot, Chukim u'mishpatim, Otanu limadeta, Otanu limadeta. Alkein Adonai Eloheinu b'shokbeinu, uvkumenu nasiach bechukecha, v'nismach b'divrei Toratecha, u'mitzvotecha le'olam va'ed. Ki hem chayenu, ve'orech yameinu, uvahem negei yomam v'layla, negei yomam v'layla. אהבתך אל תסיר ממנו לעולמים. ברוך אתה אדוני, אוהב עמו ישראל, אוהב עמו ישראל. שמע ישראל, אדוני אלוהינו, אדוני אחד. ברוך שם כבוד מלכותו לעולם ועד.
Please be seated. We're on page 36.
ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודיך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך, ובלכתך בדרך, ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידיך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, למען תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוותי, והייתם קדושים לאלוהיכם. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים, להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם.
Page 41, we read together. Sing the song of men and women, joined in understanding and respect, the song of God's miracles, an earth protected and cherished, a gift for our children and the generations to come, the song of a land once ravished by war, now quiet and content, her soldiers home to leave no more, the song of a world redeemed, the song of peace. Yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai, yai lai 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 yai lai 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 lai. Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedor b'kodesh, Nora tehilot osef eleh, Nora tehilot osef eleh. Malechutecha ra'u vanecha, bokei hayam lifnei Moshe u'Miriam, ze'elianu ve'amru, ze'elianu ve'amru. Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed, Adonai yimloch le'olam va'ed. Page 43. Give us a place to rest, Adonai our God. Bring us into shelter in the soft, long evening shadows of your truth. For with you are true protection and safety, and in your presence are acceptance and gentle love. Watch over us as we go forth. Prepare for us as we return. Spread over us your shelter of peace, over all we love, over our Jerusalem and yours. Baruch atah Adonai, haporei sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. We celebrate Shabbat with Yismachu in the middle of page 44.
Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat.
Mekadeshei Shvi Shabbat, Kulam Yisbehu, Ve'itangu mitu v'chashabat.
Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. V'hashvihi ratzito bo v'kidashto Shabbat, chemdad yamim ohoto korata Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat.
Zecher lema'aseh v'reishit Shabbat. Zecher lema'aseh v'reishit Shabbat.
Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat. Yismechu v'malechutecha, shomrei, shomrei, shomrei Shabbat v'korei oneg Shabbat.
We rise in body or spirit for the Amidah, which begins on page 46.
Adonai sifatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Adonai, open up my lips that my mouth may declare your praise. Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu v'Elohei avotenu v'imotenu, Elohei Avraham, Elohei Yitzchak, v'Elohei Yaakov, Elohei Sarah, Elohei Rivka, Elohei Rachel, v'Elohei Leah, Ha'el Hagadol, Hagibor v'Hanora, El Elyon, Gomer Chasadim Tovim, v'Konei Hakol, v'Zocher Chasdei Avot v'Imahot, Umevi Geula Livnei B'neihem, Lima'an Shemo B'Yahava, Melech Ozer U'Moshia U'Magen, Baruch atah Adonai, Magen Avraham v'Yezrat Sarah, Atah Gibor le'olam Adonai, Mechayeh hakol atarav lehoshia, Morid hatal, Mechalkel chayim b'chesed, Mechayeh hakol berachamim rabim, Somech noflim v'rofeh cholim, Umatir asurim, Umekayem emunato, Lishenei afar, Michamocha ba'agivurot, ומידו מלך, מלך ממית ומחייב, ומצמיח ישועה, ונאמן אתה להחיות הכל. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי הכל. אתה קדוש ושמך קדוש, וקדושים בכל יום יהללוך סלע. ברוך אתה אדוני האל הקדוש.
Please be seated. We read together in the middle of page 59. When we behold your heavens, the work of your fingers, the moon and stars that you set in place, what are we humans that you are mindful of us? We mortals that you take note of us. You made us little less than divine, adorned us with glory and majesty. You gave us dominion over your handiwork, laying the world at our feet. How majestic is your name throughout the earth. Baruch atah Adonai, hatov shimcha ulecha na'el lehodot. We take a moment for our own personal reflections and prayers. Page 60. Shalom Rav
Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam.
Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom. Ki atahu melech Adon lechol hashalom.
Shalom Rav Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. Shalom Rav Ad Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. V'tov be'enecha levarech et Amcha Yisrael bechol et uvechol sha'a bishlomecha. Shalom Rav Ad Yisrael Amcha Tasim Leolam. 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 Tasim Leolam. Tasim Leolam.
Baruch atah Adonai hamvarech et amo Yisrael bashalom. Blessed are you, Adonai, who blesses your people Israel with peace. Amen.
Amen.
Page 253. As we think about bringing peace into our worlds, which is a precious gift, we also think about bringing healing into our worlds, whether it be healing of the body, mind, or spirit, healing of our own loved ones and neighbors, or healing of those around our world. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless and heal those who are ill. Tonight, our congregation is praying for Carol Babcock, Howard Sherwin, Pauline Sherwin, Ann DePaul, Susan Derby, Helene Edwards, Beverly Fruit, Rabbi Bob Goodman, Marilyn Goodman, Jesse Halpern, Mary Hartman, Janice Hayflick, Samuel Jacobson, Kimberly Janis, Gail Jarrett, Robert Kay, Dan Cartman, Barry Newman, Sandy Olesker, David Osovsky, Laura Osovsky, Bert Peters, Buddy Pollock, Jean Posen, Sean Quinlan, Ron Rappaport, Randall Rout, Sandra Resnikoff, Devora Batrachel, Adele Shamban, Sid Siegel, Ruthie Silver, Nicholas Sobek, Brady Spector, Judy Van Gorder, Mary Williams. If you have names that you would like to share aloud for those you're praying for, please do so as I look around the room. David.
Charles Sellen, Dr. Kinney, John Mitchell, Ida Haywood, Fred and Dorothy Weiss, Sam Zuka, Susan Popiol, Fran Young, Larry Reed, Mary Lou Boya, and Ray Halper.
Thanks.
Dr. Masrose.
Thanks.
Andre Castagnoli.
Thanks.
Zachary Ford.
Thanks. Sheila.
Lori Curlin, Bruce Emanuel, Lisa Emanuel, Barbie Young, Larry Young.
Carol Hollowell, Lori Weinstein.
Martin Thatcher, David Orber, Colleen Maltese, Lynn Patty, and Linda Ginsburg.
Louis Oscar.
May the Blessed Holy One be filled with compassion, for their health to be restored and their strength to be revived. May God swiftly send them a complete renewal of body and spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Misheberach avotenu mikor habracham leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Misheberach imotenu mikor habracham lavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen.
Amen. In the 1971 movie version of Willy Wonka and the Chocolate Factory, one of the lucky winners who procures a golden ticket to admit her to the factory is Veruca Salt. Veruca, if you remember, is incredibly spoiled, used to getting everything she wants, and not at all grateful for what she has. Her downfall on the factory tour, in fact, is related to her greediness. She wants all of what she sees around her, and gets so carried away that she sings, I want a feast, I want a big party, cream buns and donuts and fruitcake with no nuts, so good you could go nuts. I want the world, I want the whole world. I want to lock it all up in my pocket. It's my bar of chocolate, give it to me now. She is so busy wanting that she does not realize that she's surrounded by beautiful, magical, delicious treats of all kinds. and then she ends up on a machine that judges good eggs and bad eggs. The machine decides she is a bad egg, and she disappears down the garbage chute. In this week's Torah portion, B'ha'alotcha, the Israelites also become blinded by what they want. They are not as spoiled as Veruca, but like her, their desires overcome their ability to be grateful for what they have and appreciate where they are on their journey. As Veruca did, they dream of delectable foods that they are longing for. Chapter 11 of Numbers tells us, "The riffraff in their midst felt a gluttonous craving, and then the Israelites wept and said, 'If only we had meat to eat. We remember the fish that we used to eat free in Egypt, the cucumbers, the melons, the leeks, the onions, and the garlic. Now our gullets are shriveled. There is nothing at all, nothing but this manna to look to.'" The Israelites are so entrenched in what they do not have that they express a desire to go back to being slaves just so they can enjoy meat and vegetables once again. At this moment, they would gladly exchange their freedom for some fish. The people clearly have a faulty short-term memory. Why would they want to return to slavery? Is a piece of Egyptian fish really worth it? Midrash, additional commentary on the Torah, tells us that their rose-colored glasses about being slaves are due to a kind of freedom that they did have in Egypt, a freedom from morality and obligation. When you're a slave, you don't have to make your own choices. You carry out your tasks and do what you're told. You are absolved of personal responsibility. Now, the Israelites are not only in charge of themselves as individuals, but they are in the process of receiving many rules and instructions as a people that they are expected to choose to follow from the God who brought them out of Egypt. Yet they don't know what it feels like to be empowered and to make their own decisions. They are still trapped in a slave mentality, afraid and ignorant of what it looks like to be independent and choose to live a good life. God is watching over them and guiding them in clearly visible pillars of cloud and fire. Yet because they are stuck in a slave mindset, they have not yet been able to navigate personal responsibility and what it feels like to be content based on their own decisions. There is plenty of food to go around, but they cannot allow themselves to enjoy it. Like Veruca Salt, they have a childlike vision of the world around them and do not yet know what it's like to be happy with what one has. Rabbi Joshua Hammerman comments that at this point in the story, the issue is not scarcity of food, but lack of variety. The Torah tells us that God is giving the people plenty of manna to live off of each day. Rabbi Hammerman writes, "What's amazing here is the food they already had. Manna was the tastiest food in the world. Manna is described as looking like coriander seeds or smooth peppercorns and having a bronze, yellowish-brown color. It was made into cakes and tasted like rich cream. Now, if you could choose between having this delicious Haagen-Dazs concoction all the time or a rotation of onions, leeks, and fish sticks, what would you select?" Freedom is scary. The Israelites are afraid of being responsible for themselves, since they are used to taskmasters telling them what to do. They complain to cover up their fear, to continue trapping themselves in the psychological bondage of slavery. Our sage Rashi states that the demand for meat and all the other foods they had in Egypt was simply a pretext to complain. And why did they complain? It was not about substance, since there was plenty of delicious manna, as we heard. They complained, says Rashi, because they were frustrated about having to live according to the mitzvot, the commandments that God was in the process of giving to them. Suddenly, they are not free from morality, obligation, and responsibility. Dr. John Greenberg tells us the language used at this point in the Torah evokes a group that dwells under its own frustrated desires. Craving the meat was in itself not a sin, but being gluttonous without recognizing the majesty of God and God's creation can lead to disaster. A generalized dissatisfaction expressed in endless demands for more material things that do not bring happiness can never be satisfied. Veruca Salt had a whole candy factory and the world at her fingertips. Yet she was blinded by endless desire for food, for glamorous experiences, and for unique items. The Israelites had just been freed from 400 years of slavery, yet were trapped in a slave mentality which led them to want more and more without taking stock of how far they'd come. Before the people even start whining about their menu options, the beginning of the chapter relays to us that the Israelites became bitter and were just complaining in general. Some things never change. In response, God creates a fire that ravages the outskirts of their camp. To me, while God meant that fire to demonstrate God's power, the fire is a physical manifestation of what happens to us when we are blinded by our desires, when we constantly crave more without appreciating what we have, when we trap ourselves in unhealthy mindsets. We become consumed by what is wrong in our lives, what is not enough, what we wish we could have. We only experience the flames, which block our view and inhibit us from gaining a wider perspective. As we do our best to navigate a scary, disappointing, and chaotic world, I pray that we are able to recognize how far we have come on our journeys, to notice the beauty around us and appreciate the goodness in our lives. May we not be like Veruca Salt and the Israelites, only seeing what we do not have and constantly desiring excess. May we not let the flames of our wants and needs consume or destroy us, but instead light our way on the path forward towards comfort, peace, and wholeness. Amen. We continue with Aleinu in the middle of page 282 as we rise in body or spirit.
May be seated. Page 293. Our thoughts turn to those who have departed this earth, our own loved ones, those whom our friends and neighbors have lost, the martyrs of our people whose graves are unmarked, and those of every race and nation whose lives have been a blessing to humanity. As we remember them, we meditate on the meaning of love and loss, of life and death. We are announcing the funeral of Mickey Greenfield to be held, recently passed, and the funeral will be held on Monday, at which point Shiva will be observed. We're in a period of Shloshim with Jan Tobias Smith and Minette Nadler, and we are observing yahrzeits this week of Lillian Bailey, Sidel Ballenberg, Hannah Barwald, Erna Barrett, Mary Clough, David Cohen, Shirley G. Cohen, Gertrude Goldberg Cohen, Rosalie Coleman, Robert Coleman Jr., Martha Krieger, Ivan M. Diamond, Robert Bob Edwards, Alta Fishman, Joel A. Gelman, Sarah Gorman, Harry Gorman, Lillian Green, Myron Greenspan, Ricky Allen Gutnick, Abraham Horowitz, Josephine Camp, Rose Kiner, Eleanor Klitnick, Hyman Konowitz, Alice Landis, Cynthia Lee, Sam Lesser, George Lish, Pauline Mack, Benjamin Mack, Jacqueline Minor Madero, Betty Moss, Morris W. Moss, Herbert S. Osofsky, William C. Outen, William Rosenblatt, Jonathan N. Roth, Leonard Sanders, Florence R. Stark, Ruth Bearson Stein, Sigmund Wolf. If you have any names to add to our yahrzeit list, you may say those now. We join together as a congregation as we rise in body or spirit and join in with the Mourner's Kaddish Kadisha tome on page 294. Yitgadal v'yitgadash shemei Rabbah, be'alma divrach yiruteh v'yamlich malchuteh, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayedecho beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kariv v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevarach le'olam ulomei amaya, yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalal shemei dekudesha b'richu, le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechamata, da'amiran be'alma v'imru amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. Oseh shalom b'imromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru amen. May the one who creates harmony on high bring peace to us and to all Israel, to which we say, amen.
Please be seated as we invite up our temple president, Miriam Greenhut, to share some information with us.
Shabbat Shalom. So of course I left my reading glasses down there. So I won't go back and get them, but I'll do my best. I am Miriam. It's lovely to see everybody here. So glad, hi Jack. So glad that everybody could join us tonight, whether you're here in person or online. We welcome you and we thank you for being part of our community. Temple events happening this week. We're entering our slow summer months, so the announcements will be pretty quick. We are still continuing our parent and me play dates throughout the summer because they have been so popular. So Sunday at 10 a.m., we will have parent and me play dates here. Wisdom will be led by Jody Seitlin on Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. And next Friday, we will be celebrating our Pride Shabbat. We will start the evening at 6:15 with a wine and cheese preneg sponsored by the Miller family, followed by a special Pride Shabbat service at 7 p.m. For more information, please see your temple times. I would also like to welcome a few visitors that we have here this evening. We have Annalise visiting, welcome. And we have visitors, friends returning, Vicki Armel, Beverly Henderson. Thank you for being here tonight. We're thrilled to see you. And just a reminder for everybody, we have lovely good wishers who are helping Rabbi Bob and Marilyn Goodman. I was asked to let you know that Goldie Lansky will be coordinating meals for the Goodmans. So please reach out to Goldie if you would like to do a kindness for the Goodmans. Goldie's going to be managing the drop-off schedule. So Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Our oneg tonight will be outside under the front portico, and we look forward to visiting with you there.
Thanks, Miriam. We continue with Kiddush and Motzi. Kiddush can be found on page 5.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam borei peri hagafen Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav, v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho, mi'ahava uvratzon hinechilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reshit, ki hu yom techilah, למקראי קודש, זכר לציאת מצרים. כי באנו בחרת, ואותנו קידשת מכל העמים, ושבת קודשך באהבה וברצון הנחלתנו. ברוך אתה אדוני מקדש השבת. אמן. לחיים. ברוך אתה אדוני Eloheinu melech haolam, hamotzi lechem min haaretz. Amen.
We conclude tonight with another prayer for peace, Oseh Shalom, which can be found on page 343.
Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav, hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen. Oseh shalom bimromav,
hu ya'aseh shalom aleinu,
ve'al kol Yisrael ve'imeru amen.
Shabbat shalom.
Shabbat shalom. Threw me off there, sorry. So I need to do anything special for next week?
So I'm just going to do some special readings. So like there's going to be just a pamphlet of readings, but the prayers and stuff will be mostly the same. I mean, there's a few good substitutes. I'm going to figure out like what I'm going to substitute and what I'm going to keep, but I'll keep you posted.
Okay, cool.
Thank you. Thanks, David. Hold on. Get this thing.